I remember going into St. Mark's when I was like 15 and being like, you got to go see this guy's nuts. He like beats himself up on stage, and I have some shitty fucking apartment in St. Mark's or whatever the hell. And I've like would go in to see punk shows, and I've seen Andrew WK before anybody knew he was. And then when he popped up on TV, I'm like, the guy who's always what on stage?
Like, I want to bring the whole neighborhood with me.
I like that.
So like, if I mean, a lot of comics do it, and I love when I see that. Like when Kevin James brings out all his friends. You know, Adam Sandler makes all his friends famous. Kevin Hart makes all his friends famous. Fucking Sam Morril brings his friends.
Sam Morril brings
his friends. You know, like I'm into that. So
I think it's. I always say, because that in comedy, all we have is other comics. I think so. When you hear about shit like that, I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad that's true.
Yeah. Funny. That's why you're here. You're not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna like first get comfortable on stage, then we can like break down what you're doing.
I think people
writing wise.
A lot.
Yeah,
and it is scary. I still get scared. I did theater beforehand. I was on stage in pantaloons.
So you have a hand up.
Yeah, but it's still like, because it's different. Well, and I always try to explain to people, like, why do you get nervous? You did that, and I'm like, well, they handed me a script. They gave me a costume. They said, stand here, and if you do all these things the way we've told you, then the audience will be fine. Cool. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Millennial Stoner. It's me, Joe Winchell, and this is going to come out into the new year, so happy 2024. Hope everybody had a good new year.
It is the new year.
It is the new year. Well, that's right. I recorded
you made it like...
the other day. I made it seem like it was like last week, right?
Yeah, you made it seem like we were before the new year and this is coming out after the new year. But this is the new year. Yeah, you don't have to lie about whether or not we're in the new year or not.
Try this again. Take two. No, what's up, everybody? My guest today is very funny. Neil Rubenstein or Rubenstein?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
My parents say Steen, but they're dead, so they don't get a say in it anymore.
Thanks for coming on, man. I was just saying before, I appreciate anybody that comes on podcast, especially if they're funny. And I think you're a very funny guy, so thanks for taking the time.
No, thanks for man. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Chris, for inviting me out.
Yeah, man. Awesome. You're originally from Long Island? Or?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or like the city, or like what part of Long Island were you from?
I grew up in Plainview.
Yeah, I know
that's
Plainview.
Where I grew up. Yeah. I consider myself like I don't know. I consider myself a city comic though, because
comic?
Yeah, because
like why? Sorry.
Well, just because like when I was starting out, I wasn't doing mics out here. I was doing mics in the city.
You went into the city
I
would
go into the city like every day, like all day.
Yeah.
And I mean that's just like my whole life basically. Like I've been like that because like even growing up, like one of my high school jobs was working at Mondo Kim's, which is a record store on St. Mark's.
I knew Mondo Kim's. I bought shit from that place.
Yeah, so like I would take.
But you would live on Long Island, or were you like?
Yeah,
because I was an actor in Manhattan. I surfed on a lot of fucking couches when I was doing auditions, man.
Yeah, I would crash with people in the city a lot, but in Brooklyn in the city and stuff. But I would like cut school to take the train in to work at a record store.
Anytime someone tells me about how I cut school to go pursue my dream, I'm like, you're so fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, at the time it was a different dream, but yeah.
What was it at the time?
I just wanted to be. I just wanted to be like punk rock. Like I just wanted to be involved in it. Yeah, so I would go work at a record store and like hang out at CB's and Coney Island High.
I admire that because like I kind of like have that same I used to go into the city. Like, do you remember when Andrew WK was like doing basement shows and nobody knew who the fuck he was?
Yeah.
Like I remember going into St. Mark's when I was like 15 and being like, you got to go see this guy's nuts. He like beats himself up on stage, and I have some shitty fucking apartment in St. Mark's or whatever the hell. And I've like would go in to see punk shows, and I've seen Andrew WK before anybody knew who he was. And then when he popped up on TV, I'm like, the guy who's always wet on stage?
I was always wet.
He was always wet on stage, but he was hilarious. It was great to watch. So I love that because I've definitely been like one of those guys to be like, I want my environment to fit my personality.
Yeah.
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 So, but at the time, that you just wanted to be punk rock. How did like the comedy thing start?
Dude, I felt so.
I love how you say that. Like, this is the bane of my existence.
Yeah,
Here's how it happened.
I fell ass backwards into it, and I was like, I hate answering this question because it's
fine.
I'm gonna say things that like I'm gonna like glaze over some stuff that's gonna be like wait what.
Whatever, man.
So in the early 2000s, I started gambling heavily.
Okay.
And I owned a couple of like illegal poker clubs on Long Island.
Cool.
And so then my buddy was casting for a TV show and he needed a gambling expert. And so I started doing this TV show and it lasted like 4 years.
God damn.
And then someone on the show was like, "Oh, if you want to keep doing TV, you have to get notice for your writing."
Yeah.
So like you should start doing stand up.
Yeah.
And I started doing stand up and I was like completely disillusioned, and then like the writer's strike and like all these things.
Oh,
and
that period of time.
Yeah,
that first writer's strike, right?
Yeah. So
I remember that.
So I quit. I quit comedy. I was like, this isn't for me.
How long had you been in like comedy when you quit?
About 18 months, which last night I heard Christian Hahn say that every 18 months people reevaluate their career.
Yeah, I just had him on actually, yeah.
And I was like, I quit after 18 months the first time. Wow. And then years went by, like midlife crisis, all those things.
I'm going through that part now.
Yeah. And I just started doing it. Some people talked me into like running a show at their venue. And so like I was doing it and I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I should take it seriously. And then I took it too seriously. And now I live in a car.
Living the dream?
I mean, some people's dream.
But it's kind of the same thing for me, man. Like I was telling you before, I was an actor. I wanted to be an actor. So from ages 20 to 27, and I wanted to be like a theater. I thought I was going to be fucking Richard fucking Burton or whatever the fuck. Like I always say that, but like I studied like Shakespeare. I did the same thing with you, but I went into the city, did auditions, took classes, same thing, surfed on couches and everything like that. And then like quit because a lot of it is just favoritism in politics, especially in theater and everything like that. And I was doing a lot of extra work to kind of support myself, which is great. And then sometimes it sucks. I don't know if you've been on a Law and Order set for 72 hours, but it's not, Christopher Maloney's not cool to hang out with. And then and
the other thing with that stuff is like, you have to like go do all the, it was like, it would cost like, whatever it is, what we said, it was like $60 to get in and out of the city. So it's like $60 to go do an audition for a role that like the breakdown isn't even someone who looks like me.
No, it's not. Or it's the other thing where it's you walk into a room and everyone looks like
everyone
you.
looks exactly like you.
That was the smallest moment I felt as an actor. I remember that was like my first real big audition. I was like 25 and I was like I fucking studied Stella Adler. I'm classically trained. Like I'm getting this. And I walk in a room and everybody's 6'1" like me. Everybody's fucking same haircut as me. Everybody's wearing the same jeans as me, and I was like, this sucks. Like it was a whole thing. And then I quit when I was like 27. Tried to get a real job. Got fired from every job I had. And then my friend Mike Fales, who's been on the show before, was like, I started doing stand up. You should try it. And I'd always liked stand up. I just thought I could never do it because I was like, I don't know how to write or whatever the fuck. So, but. That was the kind of thing. I quit acting and decided to get a better job in entertainment.
Yeah, this is a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't do this with the kids if you're out there doing it. But you did do it, and I just actually and so when you started doing it again, how long? Like, because you have a special, but you also have because there was also on Spotify you have a live album at Side Splitters.
Yeah, I have an EP.
Yeah.
That I recorded at Side Splitters. My buddy Ross does Enjoy the Ride Records.
Yeah.
And my buddy Mark, who does a record label called Ellis.
Ellis?
No Hitter LSD, I think. Something like that. I think I'm the only thing he put out.
You're the only thing.
Yeah, that's why I don't know the name of the label. I apologize, Mark. I'm so very sorry.
So, but you ended up doing all these. So how long when you started like taking it seriously again after you quit and came back, like how long did it take you to develop all that material to at least do an EP and then do a whole special? I know that's kind of like a fucking inside the actor studio, but I'm fascinated with different people's process with how they develop all their shit.
So I'm gonna say the EP, which is 13 minutes, I think.
Like it's short. Yeah.
And I think one of the tracks is crowd work. So I'm gonna say that's like maybe 4 years to get to like a point where I was like, well, at least these are tight. You know what I mean? Like
this is my tight shit.
This is my tight 7 or whatever it is.
I'm always like when you hear people like what was it like when Louis C.K. was putting out, well, still does. I think he puts out one every fucking year. You know.
I think he's slowed down considerably, but yeah, I mean, some of these guys churn them out year after year, or You know, I don't know. It's like weird album cycles. I mean,
Yeah.
I always felt like, I don't know. I don't know, because like I only have my experience.
That's what I mean, because like
everything else is just as a fan.
Yeah,
As a fan, I think one a year is too much, and then like as a performer, one a year is way too much. But I also only know my skill level. Like I don't know what it's like to be that proficient.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, that's just I'm just like. Because like again, 1 year, that to me, that's like, that's insane to me. Throw everything out and then do it from scratch.
Yeah,
terrifying, horrifying. I never want to do that.
I mean, I guess if all you have to do is that, sure.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, I don't know. I'll just say, like, for me, my like goal for the year is like if I can earn 30 new minutes.
Oh, okay.
But like not even like tight, like just like if I have 30 new minutes, like it doesn't have to be A+. Like yeah. Like you know, I couldn't imagine being like my goal for this year is 70 new minutes. And it's like what? No, like 70 new minutes that you can record and put out in public. That's crazy.
Some guys even at like that's the certain levels, like the level I'm at, which is down here, but like. You know, like there's some bold shit where they're like, I'm going out there and doing 45. I'm like, you started comedy a year and a half ago. Like you're going to go out there and do 45 minutes right now?
Listen.
And like,
I mean,
yeah, I can
have my opinions on that.
Yeah.
Like, but they're doing it.
That's
so
what I mean,
what am I going to say? You know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm just saying that's scary to me.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's
like,
scary to
me. I waited.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Did I wait too long? I don't know. Maybe other people are ahead of me.
But like you said, you can only speak to your...
I can only speak to my skill level and my ability as a performer. And like, I wouldn't... I see some stuff out there where I'm like, well, I wouldn't be comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would want it more polished, or I'd want it more, you know...
I think a lot of stuff is like that gets like... It's like the vague idea of a joke, and I'm not like shitting on anything. That's just what I see a lot of younger 18-year-old, 19, 20-year-old like Gen Z comics. A lot of it's like the idea of a joke, but it's like it's all like personality or whatever, the presentation of it and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not even shitting on that. I can't do that.
I can't do that.
Yeah, I can't do that. I have to like I can't go. I'll get too nervous because I'm like I have half an idea, and then I'll just derail myself. You know.
Yeah. And I also like.
What?
So like I feel like
I will edit anything out.
No, there's levels, right? Like so like I always like on the baseball scouting scale, 20 to 80. So I feel like audience is 20. Okay. Audience is 20 level.
Okay.
Like a comedy audience can come up with the material at a 20 level.
Okay.
And then, you know, Louis C.K., Bill Burr, Jay Orkerson, like all these guys, they're the 80 level.
Yeah,
they're like Nate Bargatze's at 80 level. Like he's coming out with the best stuff. It's always going to be. And then the rest of us are somewhere between 30 and 70, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, you've seen 70s, they're crushing it. And you've seen 30s, they're at the open mic at Scotty's Pub.
Shout out Mike Ellison.
So then I see with young or newer comics that they're doing bits that they're like, this is my best. Mm-hmm. And it's a 30 level.
Yeah.
It's something the audience could easily come up with.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I gauge.
That makes sense to me. Like,
the talent.
Yeah.
Is like, well, you're not, I wouldn't want to pay. I would feel bad making someone pay to see me if I'm doing stuff that is just barely better than what the audience can come up with.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
And so, like, when you see it a lot at comedy clubs when, like, the comic asks questions, like, anybody do blah, blah, blah?
Yeah,
and you get, like, you're setting yourself up to fail because... You know, like you're asking permission to tell a joke, or you're giving the audience an opportunity to be funnier than you.
Yeah.
And then I've
seen that backfire a few times.
I've seen it backfire so much. And it's just over, like, it's just like you can't, I don't know, like, I guess you can, they do, but I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And like, I understand, well, this is only as good as I am. How do I, but you can put in the work and come up with something a little bit better.
Well, then that kind of rolls into how do you get better at this? And the only thing that I've ever been told, this is what I was told. Like, this is not even my opinion. If this is like, you just have to keep doing it is the thing I was told over and over.
Well, 100%. Yeah, you have to keep doing it. But also, like, you can, I mean, there's books about how to heighten a joke.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, you could not want to make it better and make it better.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to make it better. If you want to make it better, you're gonna make it better.
Yeah.
Like, I understand not everyone can be taught, but like, if you want to be taught, you can be taught.
Like, I get it. Yeah.
Like, you can read a book, like a book that was written in the 60s. It's still basic joke structure.
Yeah,
it's still heightening. There's, I mean, whatever for the whatever book it is.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have to be this like new modern idea. Like, jokes are jokes.
Yeah, that's I agree with that a lot, actually, because it's if something's fun. What makes something funny probably hasn't changed in a couple decades.
Yeah.
It's just different content.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, sure, we're not gonna like say some of the things we said in the 70s because it's like either outdated or like offensive, now considered offensive.
Anybody like All in the Family?
Anybody? Yeah. The references aren't especially evergreen, but but ultimately, you know, like, if you want to make a joke better, you can look under the hood of a joke and make it better.
I think that's. For me, really, and again, like you, I can only speak from my perspective about stuff. But I think for me, like that, I'm 6 years in, about 5, and then like I'm just learning now. Like, I felt like I just learned how to write a joke last year.
Yeah, and then in 4 years from now, you're gonna be like, oh, I feel like I just learned how to write a joke this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just gonna constantly evolve, and you're gonna constantly shit on your earlier stuff.
Yeah,
but there's people out there that aren't feeling that way.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, you gotta work at this. Like, you can't just, I mean, you can, they do.
Yeah.
But if they're being honest with themselves, they're not doing.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You know what they could be doing. And then also, like, their growth is off. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's successful at the so like, even if it's like, oh, I'm passed at the local clubs.
Yes.
So I'm doing something right.
Yes.
Okay, sure, but like, keep doing it then. You know what I mean? Like, keep evolving. Like, don't
settle on what you.
Yeah, like,
I agree with that.
Just because you work the local clubs every weekend or whatever it is, like, it doesn't make you good.
I would argue that should, in my head, that should propel you, because if you're working like every weekend, and you're just going to do, you're not going to evolve your material or take that opportunity because you get a crowd every weekend to try at least one thing out, then you're just kind of just like, well, I got here based on this joke, and this is what I'm going to do. This is what's going to, like, but why would you not try to evolve it? That's just from my perspective. Why would you not evolve it just a little bit?
Listen, there's somebody who said, like, for hobbyists and like all I want to do is the local things. I have a wife, I have a kid, I don't, I have a full-time job. I don't care to get, I'm not trying to be on Netflix or whatever the fuck. Like, okay, cool. But like, if you are like constantly posting on Instagram, like, obviously there's a drive in you that wants to be big. You know what I mean? Like, you're not a hobbyist at that point.
Tell themselves that so they don't get upset when it doesn't work out for them or whatever the hell. So they can be like, I never meant for it to be this. Now look at me.
Yeah. It's like, but you did, because you were posting you were posting on Instagram at like the correct algorithmic times and like
you put it out there.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, dude.
If I pop, I pop. Well, know, like, right. No, and I think that there's hobbyists and everything, and like, I think that you have a great perspective on it too, even though that you're coming from, you're like, you can only speak to what you know, but you've been around the block enough to offer something that's pretty cool about that. But I also think, like, do you apply to the idea of like the comedy schools, like people can go, and I'm not asking, I'm curious. It's like, just because I didn't want to take any kind of comedy schools, just because I was told, and this isn't even a negative thing, it's like, they're really going to teach you how to write a joke like they write a joke, as opposed to you figuring out how you write and finding your voice. That's my perspective on it.
I am. I love the classes.
Yeah.
I've taken thousands of classes.
Okay.
I currently am teaching an intro to stand-up class.
Cool.
So I do think they're valuable.
Okay.
But I think they're valuable in the same way that, I just talked about anything else. Like,
okay.
This is what I do or did.
Okay.
And you're going to do what you do or did.
Yeah.
Like my intro to stand-up class that I'm teaching is just how to get on stage and like how to get comfortable and like
stuff like that.
Yeah, like and I told like I gave them a writing assignment, but I was like, you know how to be funny. You're funny. That's why you're here. You're not. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna like first get comfortable on stage, then we can like break down what you're doing.
I think people
writing wise.
a lot.
Yeah,
and it is scary. I still get scared. I did theater beforehand. I was on stage in pantaloons.
So you have a hand up.
Yeah, but it's still like because it's different. Well, and I always try to explain to people, like, why do you get nervous? You did that, and I'm like, well, they handed me a script. They gave me a costume. They said, stand here, and if you do all these things the way we've told you, then the audience will be fine. I don't have any of that going. So it's a lot more like, here's my shit that I wrote on the back of a napkin, and I'm going to hope that this works. So I still get very, very scared. And I'm not saying I go out there and crush it all. I'll take the moderate laughter that I get, but it's still fucking scary. Because,
that's interesting.
It's very scary to me still because it's more naked than even I have the sense of mind to go out there and walk on stage with purpose. But remember, I still have to do stuff. I have to still do stuff after that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense at all.
Totally. Because I'm just doing what they told me to do.
Yeah.
Like if it sucks, it's their fault. It's not.
If it sucks, it's on me with stand up.
Yeah. So I get that. That's like kind of. That's an interesting. I was always in bands.
I was going to ask about that because you said like, punk rock.
Yeah,
you're a band guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like super easy to get on stage. Like, yeah, you're naked, sure.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. For me, it was real easy.
Yeah.
And I don't get like nervous before shows
Not
or
for nothing.
performances.
Being in a band is a little more raw than going out there doing shit.
Sure.
And so you have.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's a little more raw.
I've never had an issue, and so like,
cool. Good. That's awesome.
I don't know. And then with the class that I'm giving, like, it's just like, I mean, I made it a joke. Like, take the mic out of the stand, put the stand behind you, tell jokes.
Yeah.
And I said it like over and over and over again to the point where like when a student got it right, the crowd, like the audience, like the class applauded.
It's so funny.
You know
I know
I mean?
a lot of people that I see on like
that.
showcases, and they just take the mic out and they leave the stand in front of them. It's like,
and it's just like, and I think something as simple as that, like if you make something simple like that a routine, then it kind of it takes you out of the moment.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like instead of getting on stage, like, oh my God, I'm going to talk to these people. Oh my God, I'm going to talk to these people. It's like, all right. Let me make sure I take the mic out of the stand. You know what I mean?
At least do that.
So you're focused on this other thing, and then when you're like done, it's a relief, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we are.
I agree with that because it's such a simple thing, but if you make it muscle memory, it's like opening a window and letting the air come in. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I thought it was like, I don't know. I think that's like a...
No, that's cool. And again, and for the record, I was just like with the classes.
I didn't take it a certain way.
Yeah, but it was just weird because I had wanted to take a bunch of classes, and the people had told me it's like they're really most people tell you how to write jokes, but they'll teach you how to write jokes like they write jokes.
So you gotta you have to do the research on the person.
Yes, of
you know
course.
what I mean?
Yeah,
if you're taking a class from Joe DeVito, it's going to be a good class. The guy knows how to write a joke.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like if you take a class from like.
Beep this out. No.
Exactly. You know, so just do your research. You know, do the research, and then also like if you like now, like if I ordered a class now, it would be different than taking a class when you're new. Like if you took a class now, you might just hear some different perspectives on things you already knew but you didn't know how to articulate. That's
a really good. You
know,
you probably would.
So like I went to that seminar with Tom DeSillis the other day, like just hoping maybe I just heard something I knew or reinforced something or just basic fundamentals that like maybe I'm not
going back to basics that you're like, oh, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, or even like, oh, I forgot, like, when they're like, something as simple as like, write down your goals and every day look at your goals and be like, hey, what did I do today to help achieve this goal?
Yeah.
Which sounds goofy as fuck, but it's like,
I know guys that do that.
Yeah.
And they're doing good.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, you forget to do that. Like if that's something you do, maybe starting out and then you didn't do it for 5 years and then you get reminded of that and you're like, oh yeah, I haven't been doing that. And that's why I feel stagnant. And that's why I feel like I'm not achieving what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, so this year I'm going to make a list of goals. Like I've never done that before, but this year I made a list of goals and like already knocked one down. So it's like, okay. Like immediate dividends on just some bullshit conversation that like
and you feel
a more cynical version of me wouldn't have had the conversation.
Yeah. And I definitely identify with that with the extent because I also I never did New Year's resolutions or any shit like that because I was like, what's the point? I'm gonna break it. And then there's a caveat to this, but one of my goals was like quit smoking cigarettes. I was like, I smoke way too much. And I did, but that was mainly because I was in the hospital for 3 days. And then the last thing I wanted was a cigarette. But I took that opportunity to be like, what if I just didn't smoke again?
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, oh, I feel good. I literally feel good. But I feel I'm like, oh, I accomplished that, and I have other things that I put in there. I'm like, all right, well, technically I've knocked one down. I just have to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
And you feel fucking good about yourself. And you're right. A year ago, the more cynical version of me would have been like, fuck it, but
we're all gonna die anyway.
Yeah, that mentality. Yeah. And then you just try to curve back on certain things because it's not helping me, and this is what's going to make me better at the things I want to be better at. If I have this mentality of oh no, but I can do that, which means if I can do that, then I can do this. That helps me a little bit more, as queefy as it can sound.
Yeah, but I mean, you're right. It's
the vision board works.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm not saying go up there and I also have a picture of a Cadillac Escalade and all these things. You need a side table?
I don't know what would be on my
on your vision board?
Outside of just comedy stuff.
You wouldn't have a 3-bedroom home or a mansion in Bel Air? Not that I would.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
No.
Cuz
what about a limited edition The Batman Who Laughs action figure?
Yeah. I mean,
signed by Snyder.
I mean, it would be nice to have a place that I could call my own and leave my shit. But I don't know, does that make you
how do I always put it? It was never about the money for you. That sounds weird,
it's not. Yeah. I mean, obviously you need it. I need to get by. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can do things and get good at stuff without having, I want to be rich or I want to take this and be, I call it CEO talk. You know what I mean? Making fucking, doing something that's going to make you, that's supposed to make you a billionaire or whatever.
Yeah.
I never really cared about that stuff either.
I was always a kind of a punk rock kid. I had these punk rock ideals.
Yeah.
And for in most instances, I still do. Yeah, it'd be nice to have money so the stress goes away and a backup plan in case anything happens to my car or something like that. Yeah. But I don't know, as long as I can always have fun. And I'm kind of always having fun.
That's my mentality. I said I'd rather be happy. I remember the only job I didn't get fired from when I tried to get a real job, I was making a shit ton of money. They actually wanted me to stay. And I was like, I don't want to be here anymore after 3 months. And they were paying me way too much money. If I had stayed there, I wouldn't be able to get my own place.
Yeah.
But it was backbreaking labor and they hated me. I wasn't good at it. And they were so short-staffed. They're like, no, you got to stay. And I go, I don't want to stay here. If I stay here, my anxiety was going through. If I was throwing up before I would go into work and everything like that. And I remember I had just started. It was I was only a couple months into stand-up, and I really, really liked it. So I was like, I'm gonna go quit. I can't do this. And they're like, why? And I'm like, or well, maybe you can come in at like 5 a.m. and like we can go over stuff with you. I'm like, I'm definitely not doing that. I'm definitely not doing that. And that was the day I was like, I'd rather be happy and like be halfway good at comedy and live in my parents' basement than do that, because it was an awning company and it was the shittiest job ever. I gave rich people shade. Yeah. So
I've made money in my life. Like I've done well. Like I ran an illegal poker club. I ran a brothel. Like
that's like cool stuff, though. I did awnings. Like that's something that people are going to make an HBO special out of eventually.
I mean, but like, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, when you had money, was it different?
Yeah, it's nice to have that freedom, but. I don't know. I'm fine.
When you had money, or when you had like made a little bit of bank, were you like, this is it? Or was it just like, okay, I just like doing this?
Because it goes away. Like you get it, you go. You get it. Like if I don't have it, I can't, you can't take it from me. I literally don't have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's something freeing about just like not paying your credit card bills. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh,
you can go to them and be like, I don't have it.
I don't have it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, can you give us this much? And I'm like, no.
I have nothing.
I can't. I'm not going to give you anything.
I'm going through that right now with when I was in the hospital. My insurance company sent me a letter and they were like, hey, we denied your hospital stay. They didn't deny my surgery. They denied my hospital stay. And I said, okay, cool. And then I'm like, I'm going through all the motions to get them to be like, hey, first of all, I didn't ask to stay overnight. Like, I woke up at 1 a.m. after a surgery, and the nurse was like, you're staying here now. And I go, okay, so, but like, they're denied the stay. And I was like, well, and I was talking to my friend, and it's like, well, what's going to happen if they deny it again? And there's like, well, you have to pay it. And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have 20. I don't have it. And I can't pay it. Like
I don't have it. I wanted to leave.
You're gonna get paid by the insurance company.
Yeah,
like
I wanted to leave. They didn't let me leave.
They said you stay here. And I said okay. And then I begged to leave at 8 a.m. when I was shitting myself, getting laughed at by 3 sassy black nurses. And I was like, I have to get out of here right now. They're all funnier than me, and they're saying stuff that they're making fun of me. So yeah, I get it, man. That is freeing and everything. And I don't know. There's some people that I've met. Not just in stand-up, in entertainment, because I've done acting and I've met so many different people that it's like, it's just bizarre to me to be like, the money? Really? Like,
there's no money in this.
But like, I like in all of entertainment, I've met dancers, I've met actors and everything like that. But it's there's no money in any of that either, really. Yeah. Unless you get picked out of like an AGT thing or you get some sort of job in a Vegas show or something like that. I think you gotta do it because you like doing it.
Yeah. You try to get famous so that you can do it more freely.
Yeah, exactly.
Cause like we were talking about outside, like it's very expensive to like go to a mic in the city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, like
$60 to get in and $100 when you're in the city at the very least.
Yeah. Like I'd like to have money.
Yeah.
That would be fucking dope. But I can't imagine. I can't imagine having it.
If you got it, you wouldn't know what to do with it type thing?
Yeah. I mean, like what's going to happen? Like someone's going to give me $10,000 and then what? And then I'm just going to like, oh, well, let me pay the $10,000 I owe for some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm still back at nothing.
You're not going to be like, well, I've made it.
Yeah, like so then
Let's
like
go
what
buy
like
a $10,000 boat.
Yeah, what's having money gonna do? Like unless it's like a sick number.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You get
Unless
$1 billion or something like that.
Yeah. Like, unless I just like I win $100,000.
Okay.
And then it's like, oh well, I could like this will be a nice start. I could like start to like get my shit back together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like pay off some bills, buy a new car.
That's what it is when people are like, man, if I win the lottery, I'm like, if you win a lottery, you're gonna pay your bills off and buy a house.
That's it.
And you're going to be the same person that I went to high school with.
Yeah, it's the numbers that people throw around now aren't life-changing numbers. Like,
it's livable numbers.
Like, like you won $1 million 20 years ago. Like, yeah, you could probably skate the rest of your life.
Yeah.
If you won $1 million now, it would last you 10 years.
If that. Because if you're not,
and that's not buying, not buying.
If you're not in a considerable amount of debt or like whatever, and if you already own a home, like if you have an apartment, the first thing you do is like go buy. I used to bartend with a guy who talked about this shit all the time because he would buy Powerball numbers, and I'm like, "What are you gonna do if you win?" He's like, "I'd buy a house." He was realistic about it. He's like, "I'm gambling, but like, I'd buy a house, and then whatever left, I'd pay off my debt."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you're like realist about this."
I watch like I watch like a ton of cooking shows, cooking competitions. It's like my favorite thing.
I'm going down. I don't know. I'm like I'm rewatching Hell's Kitchen from the beginning right now.
Okay, so
I feel you.
So I just watched this last season of MasterChef.
Oh, okay.
And the prize was $250,000. And they asked someone what they would do. Yeah, they asked someone what they would do if they won, and the person was like, "Well, I'll buy myself a house and my aunt a house." And I'm like,
where?
I'm like, unless they're small houses in the middle of the country, like really you're putting just down payment. You put a down payment on.
You're
going to
rent a house for your.
You're going to put a down payment on a house for your mother.
Yeah.
But like you're not buying two houses with $250,000. Like
he figures that out. That mom's like, you said you'd buy me a house.
Yeah,
like,
you're lucky if you can put two down payments.
Yeah,
like
$250,000 is. I know people that make that amount of money and are
like,
that have like a family and like 3 kids. You know what I mean?
It's like you're not like money. Like the past few years, I mean, we're headed towards the singularity.
Oh,
like there's
absolutely.
no like.
No, I feel you on it. Like it's
so I don't give it like. There's no amount of money I could make, like legitimately. Yeah. There's no amount of money I could make right now. Yeah. That would be like life changing.
Yeah, no.
So it's like whatever.
Especially in this business.
I just need to get to the next one.
Yeah, because like even if you got paid, like you said, even if Netflix bought your special and put it on there, you're going to get probably in the $1,000 range, something like that. Maybe not 10, but let's say you get $50,000 from them.
Okay.
And then that's
so I'll pay off my debt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll still not have credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not going to fix the fact.
Like the credit score is still going to be bad. So if I lease or rent another car, lease or finance another car, it's going to be like a crazy number.
Yeah.
So like what really did it change? Like it just made these next couple of months easier.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to say no to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I put up a GoFundMe to make this special.
Okay.
And I got an amount of money that I was like, oh, this is sick. I can make a dope special.
Yeah.
And then the special ended up costing me more than that anyway.
Yeah.
And then
I always hear that about people that do specials. It ends up costing them more money.
Yeah.
But
and then,
it's about,
And then a label picked me up to like put out the special and put out the vinyl.
Yeah.
And so they spent some money. But like the original conversation was like, oh, well, it's this amount of money. So like maybe you can spend it however you want. So we can do like ads or stuff. And then you can even take the rest to go on tour.
Yeah.
But like, there is no the rest.
Yeah.
It's all ads and money I owed from the special to begin with. So it's like, I don't know.
But you got a special out of it. That's the cool thing.
No, it's great. Yeah. No. I'm not. I'm not complaining about that. Like that's.
No. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like I'm not going to have money. It's just not. I'm just not. It's just like.
I think that's more of a realistic output on it. I really do. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having.
Like all of a sudden, I make $5,000 more a month.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I can like rent a place.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I make $5,000 more a month from there. Like, oh, maybe I could buy a place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like still, I'm just sleeping in a place.
Yeah.
Like I'm still on the road. Yeah. It's like, I guess like I could stop crashing at my buddy Phil's in Indianapolis. I could like get a hotel maybe there.
I like Phil. He's
but
cool
I'd
guy.
rather hang out with I'd rather hang out with Phil.
That's what it is.
You know what I mean? Like
I
like
get to sleep over with Phil.
Yeah,
it's the best.
like sure. It's like sometimes I feel like I'm putting people out when I'm like staying like if I stay at my buddy Mark's on Long Island and he's got like a family and like I'm like using the bathroom that his daughters want to use. You know what I mean? Like sure, I'm putting people out, but like when I'm staying with like Roman, you know what I mean? Like we're just gonna we're just gonna go get chain restaurant food and like maybe go to a movie and like watch some YouTube, and it's gonna be
Fridays,
fucking fun.
We got pub pretzels.
Yeah.
And then we went and watched Endgame. It was great.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Like, I guess I could stay in a hotel, but like,
life is all about what you make out of it too. That's what it is. It's like if your happiness is gauged by if all you care about is money, then you're never going to be happy because, like you said, it goes away. It's a constant thing.
And I know
Find
that
other things to bring enjoyment out of your life.
I know there's like arguments to the contrary.
Yeah, I know.
But like realistically, if you don't inherit a house on Long Island, you can't. And so like
I remember I was on the phone one time with somebody and they were trying to get me to like, it was like I was targeted. It was like a robocall, whatever. It was a person that was like, do you want to, are you looking to buy this, whatever? And I'm like, no. I'm 36 years old. I can only live above or below my parents or with 7 other people.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. There's no house in my future by myself.
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know.
I mean, like I said, like I agree with that outlook. I think A, life is what you make out of it, and B, I don't think money means everything. As I'm sure everybody's going to tell me that I am short-sighted and I'll never be successful. In the comment section, I'll give a shit.
Okay, I'm not going to be. That's fine. I'm not going to be.
I'm fine with that.
I'm not going to be.
I like what I do.
I'm not going to be successful. Like, the algorithm has decided.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just going to try and like have the most fun.
But even say if you pop and get like the way that Matt Rife like popped real like if you,
but Matt Rife has been doing it
for 15 years.
15 years.
Ralphie May took him on the road.
He was already on TV.
He was
already headlining venues.
He had a special that came out the year before that I knew about. I couldn't place him, and then I realized I'm like, oh yeah, I watched this guy's special in 2022.
Yeah. So like
he also did a movie with Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah. So like stop being like, oh, it's overnight for some people. Sure, some people it is overnight.
But I'm not saying it's overnight. I'm saying that he's now more in the public eye. So that's, and I'm not even shitting on Matt Rife. I'm just saying, like, if you popped like that, the way that like his name is in everybody's mouth right now.
Sure, that'd be great.
At least on the internet.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But like, wouldn't that? Do you think that would change? Not you, but like, would that be a scary thing? Because that's a change in life.
No, that'd be sick.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Because like ultimately, like I'm very from the school of MC Hammer.
Okay.
Like I want to bring the whole neighborhood with me.
Oh, okay.
You know
I like that.
So like. I mean, a lot of comics do it, and I love when I see that. Like when Kevin James brings out all his friends. Adam Sandler makes all his friends famous. Yeah. Kevin Hart makes all his friends famous. Yep. Fucking Sam Morril brings his friends. Sam Morril brings his friends. Yeah. Like I'm into that. So
I think it's. I always say because that in comedy, all we have is other comics. I think so. When you hear about shit like that, I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad that's true.
Yeah. And so that would be, that would be my move.
That's awesome.
Because I do it now.
Yeah.
And I don't have money to give people.
I mean, that's awesome of you. Like that just means you're a cool guy. Like, so many people that are just like so protective of their spot. It's like professional wrestling sometimes. It's fucking weird. But like, I don't
look. I get it. Yeah. I get that train of thought where it's like. West Side Comedy Club only has this many spots. So why are we going to like try and pass more people? Because then we'll lose our spots. So like, all right, sure. But I don't know, man. Like there's examples where that works.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying it would happen everywhere. And like, sure, at the Cellar now they're probably at like at saturation point.
Yeah, definitely.
But there was a time where the Cellar, they were passing better comics and more comics, and so the shows were getting better. More
selective. Well, yeah.
So more people were showing up. So then they could book more shows. So then there were more spots for the people that you know what I mean. So it's like
I get it.
There is a version of that where it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like New York Comedy Club keeps opening more places.
Yeah, they have one in Connecticut now.
They have Connecticut, Atlantic City.
Yeah.
2 in New York. I think they have one in LA.
The Cellar's got a location in Vegas. And is there an LA location?
In the Cellar?
Yeah, or was it just Vegas?
No, Cellar's Vegas and then 4 rooms in New York.
Yeah, that's right, because they got Fat Black around the corner.
Yeah, so it's like, there is a version of this where it works.
Yeah.
So just like, I don't know, bring your friends with you. Isn't it more fun to like sit upstairs with your friends than sit upstairs alone?
It's like, a lot more fun to sit upstairs with your friends.
I don't know. When I hear about these headliners that don't bring features, I'm like, what a lonely life.
Yeah, I don't get that because it's just like you just travel by yourself. You don't like that. I've done road shows before. It's like it can be bleak.
Like so after the show, you just go back to your hotel alone. You don't want to like hang out?
Like not even like drink or anything like that. Just you want to go get a burger?
Like you want to like sit in the hotel lobby and like talk about the show.
What's your top 10 favorite movies?
Yeah.
Like, what do you?
I don't know, man. I need to be constantly surrounded by people. Like
I'm like that too, man. I don't like it goes after the show, like the adrenaline when it wears off.
Oh yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah, my receptors are gone.
Yeah.
Like it's like super highs and super lows. There's no middle.
No, there's no middle.
So like I need to be distracted at all times. Like I always joke, like who's watching me tonight? You know what I mean? Like who's making sure I don't do something stupid.
I don't know. I'm feeling pretty alone right now.
Yeah. And like, you know, I remember I reached out to some friends. I was like, yo, what's everyone doing on this? And I gave a date. And they were like, why? What's that date? I was like, oh, just the next date I don't want to be alone on.
I have this day free. Can we fix that?
Yeah, like,
I get that. Because the drop off happens. It's like, it's weird. I remember like, it's almost like I can, if I walk away from a comedy club after having, it doesn't even have to be a good set. It's just the environment and everybody sometimes, but like I'll walk away and I like feel my smile drop, and then I get in my car and I'm like, I'm gonna listen to fucking
brutal.
I'm gonna listen to fucking the Black Flag or some shit on repeat till I get home.
I've walked off stage like after a dope set, in front of a ton of people, and then immediately been like, I fucking hate being alive.
Yeah, it's real. No, it's real though, man. Like, it's people. It's I don't know. It's weird. It's like especially when I've done McGuire's when I do stuff. It's like I watch the people go by and then there's nobody there, and I'm just like, this is fucking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go sit in a parking lot by myself.
Yeah, I just stood here and got ignored.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's a weird business, but then again, like I can't tell you like if it goes well. Is the best feeling in the fucking world.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling in the world. I walk off that stage and I'm just like, I wouldn't trade this for any drug in the world. Yeah. There's nothing.
But immediately it goes away.
But immediately, like cocaine, it goes away in 20 minutes. Like it just
goes away.
It's the I don't know. It's like you chase it, but is it worth it to you?
Yeah.
To me, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's the only thing like that keeps me going.
That's awesome.
You know, I just want to have fun, and I just want other people to have fun. I want to I've been a bad person a lot in my life, and so like this is just like, you know, maybe I'm here 2 more months, maybe I'm here 20 more years. Yeah. I don't know, but like I just want to try and like cheer as many people up.
You're also doing stand-up, but you're in kind of in a position where you're like, hey man, I also get, and that kind of keeps me going too with it is. There's one person in that audience having a shitty day. If they laughed at something I said and it made their day a little bit better, it's worth it.
Yep.
That's a cool job. You know what I mean? Like that's something that really.
Someone comes up to you afterward. It's like, I really needed this.
Yeah. That's like the best. Holy shit, man! Thanks over my stupid ass fucking what boner joke or whatever I made. You know, like
that fart joke.
Yeah, that fart joke. Cool.
Fuck
like,
yeah.
What'd you do? I saved that guy's life.
Like, I mean, I don't want to say I'm a hero,
but.
I've been told
I walk around
my
house in a cape.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, let's wrap up. Neil, thank you so much for coming down here. And
thanks for having me. Thanks, Chris. Yeah.
No, man, this was a lot of fun and really cool, and I got to know you a little bit.
Yeah. I'm excited
you're a cool guy, man.
To run into you again out there and do some shows or whatever.
Yeah, man. Neil's got a special. It's on YouTube. What's it called again?
Have Some Dignity.
Have Some Dignity. Just type in his name. It's like the first thing that comes up. Come check that out. And he's on Spotify with his EP, which is called, what's the different one?
That's just Live at Side Splitters.
That's Live at Side Splitters.
The special will be on Spotify. I don't know exactly
I think it's
when,
cool that you have an album. They don't do those anymore. Soon the album will be on Spotify soon. It's a great special. It's very funny. Please go check it out. You want to plug your social media or anything like that?
Just Neil Rubenstein.
Neil Rubenstein. Come check him out. All right. Chris, I love you. I love you guys. Thanks for sharing, subscribing. Please keep sharing all this stuff and commenting and everything. I appreciate you all. And good night.
The Millennial Stoner outro song. Yeah, pack a bowl and sing along. Blah, la, blah, la, blah, la, 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 la. Ba, ba, blue sheep, ba, 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 ba. This is the favorite podcast of the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama's mother's name is Dalai Mama.